I always see people showcasing ultra realistic Minecraft mods, and I always wondered, are these mods actually playable? So today I'm starting a brand new Minecraft survival world. So this little mod configuration I have here is built using the Conquest Reforged mod pack, and I have a couple of additional mods installed as well, which I'll also leave in the description, and as I play I'll kind of point them out as well. So as you can see here, the graphics look absolutely stunning, and this is using the built-in resource pack as well as the built-in shaders that come with Conquest Reforged. And the biomes are looking a little bit different, and that's because I installed a mod called William Wyther's Expanded Ecosphere. So it adds a big variety of different biomes that we can explore and roam through. And if you notice in the top left corner, we actually have a mini-map that shows us the surrounding area. So if you're not familiar with Conquest Reforged, it's mainly a creative mode mod, and it's showcased a lot in YouTube videos. You'll usually see screenshots that look like real life, but then it turns out to be Minecraft. This is the mod pack that everyone uses for that. And for the most part, it's actually a creative mode mod. It adds over 14,000 different blocks to the game. So currently we have a little bit of a problem. We're not actually able to access all 14,000 of those new blocks just yet, at least in regular survival mode. We're gonna have to actually grab a stone cutter. So to do that, we're gonna need to head to the mines and grab some iron as well as some smooth stone. Yeah, I'm really excited to start this series off. Thank you guys so much for the support on the last couple of videos. I really appreciate it. I've gotten quite a few comments that were saying that people wanted to see a playthrough of Conquest Reforged, so I figured I would start up a little bit of survival mode here. And coming up here, it looks like we have a little bit of a structure set here. So one of the other mods I have installed is Dungeons and Taverns, which adds various structures to the game. So here it looks like we have a little bit of a pillager outpost. So we'll have to be careful. I don't really quite have the gear to take those guys on right now, so I'm just gonna head over here. So this is all built on the Conquest Reforged mod pack, and I decided to add a couple of different mods to it just to kind of make the experience something that I would like playing. And looks like there's a fox roaming through the woods here as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support. I got a lot of comments in the last video that people were like, oh Nick, your voice is so sexy. And I was like, for real? So yeah, now I'm not going to stop talking. Anyways though, I think I see on the map here we have a little bit of a ravine maybe. Looks like we have a skeleton over here too. So just roaming through the woods here, I really love the ambience. It looks fantastic, honestly. I believe this mod pack is using a modified version of the Bliss shaders. Yeah, the Bliss shaders looks absolutely fantastic, and it honestly runs better than you would think. And it actually looks like we found a pretty good ravine here. I'm seeing some coal and iron down there as well. I really love the built-in resource pack that Conquest Reforged uses. I'm thinking we can just kind of hang out in the ravine for now. So you may notice I was able to mine those materials very quickly, and that's using a mod called Digus Maximus, which is sort of like a vein miner. As you can see here, I'm able to quickly gather materials. Like I was saying, this mod pack adds over 14,000 new blocks to the game. So it can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but I'm going to start off very simply, and kind of as the video goes on, I'll slowly start introducing everything that this mod pack kind of offers. I do want to make my way down to that iron, so let's dig our way over there. I don't know about you guys, but it always takes me a little while before I can kind of figure out where I want to build my house. So as I'm sort of exploring the world here, I'll kind of keep my eye out for a nice little place that we can build our first home. So I'm definitely more of a casual Minecraft player. So I don't really honestly know what the meta way to actually play Minecraft is, which is kind of funny as much as I do play the game. I don't know, I always tend to really take my time with things. So this video is going to be more laid back, I guess. It's not going to be the most hyper fast-paced video in the world, just kind of a chilled, laid back kind of thing. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. If you guys enjoy these more laid back videos, feel free to let me know in a comment. And there's honestly nothing quite like starting a new Minecraft world. For me, it's one of those joys in life. I've always really liked Minecraft. And I'm curious to hear what your guys' first version of Minecraft. For me, the first version of Minecraft I played was beta 1.3. Seeing the beta versions of the game compared to what we're able to do nowadays is actually pretty amazing. And part of me still really likes those older versions of the game for some reason. Yeah, let me know how long you guys have been playing Minecraft, or what was the first version of Minecraft you actually started playing. I honestly prefer the look of Minecraft without shaders, So I want to quickly showcase what this looks like without shaders. So this is the game without shaders. As you can see, it's a lot more flat. But to be honest with you guys, I prefer the game without shaders. When most people think of Conquest Reforged, they probably think about it with the shaders on. So I'll leave them on for this video. But if you want to see me play through the game without shaders, let me know in a comment. This ravine is a nice little place to set up a home for at least the first night. So far we have 3 pieces of iron, which is more than enough to actually get us started, at least for this first night. Like I was saying, our first objective here is actually to gain the stone cutter, and this is what's going to grant us access to the different blocks that Conquest Reforged introduces to the game. So all the mods I'm using are going to be in the description, but for the most part all of this is built into the Conquest Reforged mod pack. So to make the stone cutter, all we have to do is get some iron on the top there, and we have the stone cutter. Alright, so placing down the stone cutter, all we have to do now is we take our limestone, and if we put this in here, you can see we can turn the limestone into a huge variety of different blocks. And using these combinations of blocks, we can really start making super detailed buildings. So I'm going to make a couple of archways, and maybe we'll make ourselves a nice little window looking out into the ravine here. So as you can see here, even adding simple things like archways. So the archways are just one of the many thousands of blocks that Conquest Reforged adds. And you can really use these to frame out your doorways and windows as well. So they're a really helpful building block. And at first I was really intimidated with Conquest Reforged because the idea of having 14,000 new blocks just sounded kind of crazy. But the way you build with it is actually really simple. So much like how snow works in vanilla Minecraft, the way you build in Conquest Reforged is by layer. So if we take these cobblestone slabs, you can see we can build it up by layer here. And you can even make it all the way up to a full block. So it's just like snow, how you can stack individual layers. And it's not just with snow or with stone, you can also do it with grass blocks, and pretty much any sort of block you can craft, you can turn it into slabs like this. And just like we can do it on the floor, we can also do it with vertical slabs like this. So people can finally have vertical half slabs that we've always been wanting in Minecraft. So you can build everything out by layer just like that. And using these simple little layering mechanics, you can really start building complex things. Alright, so for this first night, I'm just going to work on gathering materials. I'm going to get myself a good amount of stone, and then we'll make our way back up to the surface and actually start building a home. Alright, so now the main problem I'm kind of having is trying to figure out where I want to build my first little home. I don't know about you guys, but it always takes me a little bit before I settle down at a place. And especially with something like William Wyther's expanded ecosphere, there's just so many different locations we could go to, and there's just so many different biomes to explore. So I'm thinking we can start off really simple with the house and just so I can sort of showcase a very basic way to use Conquest Reforged. And then maybe if you guys enjoy this series, we can continue it in survival mode. Another game rule I kind of want to point out is I do have keep inventory on, just because keep inventory is one of those quality of life game modes that I really enjoy using. It's not something it's something I started using very recently, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' favorite game rules are to play with, or if you guys have mods that you really enjoy that you feel like don't get a lot of attention. Let me know in a comment. I'd love to hear it. I feel like right now is such a good time to start a Minecraft world, especially being summertime. And there's just so many different mods to install and check out. And I feel like mods nowadays are very easy to install. It's literally, I personally use Prism Launcher, but there's things like Modrint and CurseForge and things. And it makes it so easy to install these super complex mod packs with literally hundreds of mods. Conquest Reforged, for example, literally can be installed with one click, and it's the most painless thing ever. I remember when I first started playing Minecraft, it took like, even installing simple things like roughly enough items, which is this thing on the side here, you'd have to download all these patchers and different things, and it's amazing to see what the Minecraft community has been able to come up with over all these years. I really love the connected textures that we have here. You can kind of see the coal texture bleeds into the stone that's next to it, so it gives it this really nice look. Conquest Reforged really reminds me of something maybe you'd see in like a 90s RPG game, or maybe 2000s. It's very Oblivion-esque. Right, making our way back up, and it looks like it's daytime. It's a brand new day. I think it's time we head out of the mines and find ourselves a nice little place to call our home for the next couple of days. Making our way through the woods here, you can see William Wyther's expanded ecosphere really makes the world come to life, I feel like. having these expanded and enhanced biomes really adds to the charm of something like Conquest Reforged, and thankfully there doesn't seem to be any sort of incompatibilities between the two mods. So I was looking at my map and I noticed off in this direction is actually maybe a village or something, so I'm definitely wanting to head over here and check it out. And this is Zero's world map, so you can access this by pressing the M key on your keyboard. And I'm going to set myself a temporary waypoint to this these structures here, just to kind of see what we find over here. And as you can see, the waypoint shows up in game, which is really nice. And just walking through the woods here, I really love, like I was saying, expanded ecosphere. It looks like here we have another cave with tons of exposed coal, so I'll quickly grab some of this while I'm over here. I was experimenting around with mods like dynamic surroundings and things, which adds ambience to the forest, but for some reason it causes my game to crash. Maybe just because there's so much kind of going on. This world just looks absolutely gorgeous. Wandering through the woods really makes me feel like I'm maybe in Skyrim or like Oblivion Remastered or something. It looks like here we made our way to the town here. Looks like these might be some structures or some sort of statues maybe. Yeah, these definitely look like statues. And this little structure set is part of Dungeons and Taverns, which is a mod I'm a big fan of. And here's that waypoint we set. Looks like a finished house here in the middle of all these ruins. This is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Dungeons and Taverns. I feel like it really enhances the kind of exploration factor. Oh, perfect. There's already a crafting table in here. This is not a bad place. Not a bad place to set up a home, maybe. But I think for the sake of the video, I'll make my own little house so I can kind of showcase what it's like building in Conquest Reforged. Looks like just a little bit of a ruined village out here in the woods. This is really cool. Looks like this village goes on for quite a while off in that direction as well. But zooming out here, it looks like our whole little forest here is surrounded by ice, which I think is kind of cool. It's almost like we're on our own little island here. I think for now I kind of want to leave the village and go build in my own little homestead, but this is kind of cool. Maybe we'll make a pathway from our house to this abandoned village. I think that'd be kind of cool to have. So Dungeons and Taverns not only adds that pillager outpost we saw earlier, but it adds abandoned towns and structures and even little taverns that we can stop in at. And I think that'd be kind of nice to run into a tavern with some friendly villagers. So let's make our way through the woods over here and see if we can find ourselves a nice little plot of land to stick to. I really love this biome, just the different colored trees. Something that really sticks out to me with Conquest Reforged is definitely the water texture. I feel like that's what really gives this mod pack that realistic kind of feel. Man, this just looks absolutely gorgeous. I really like this. Let me check the map really quick. I think this wouldn't be a bad place to kind of homestead. Looks like we have a river that goes out to the ice. Maybe this goes down here as well. Let's kind of clear out some of these trees. And the ground's already flat, so it's perfect for building. I'm curious, if you guys, whenever you guys were growing up, did you watch a lot of Minecraft Let's Plays? That was definitely something I was doing when I was a kid. At the time, I didn't really have a computer I didn't have a computer, so I couldn't play Minecraft because console edition wasn't out. So I wanted nothing more than to just literally play Minecraft. And I really looked up to like a lot of Minecraft YouTubers at the time. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I think it's kind of funny, all these years later, I'm like a Minecraft YouTuber that makes videos. So if you guys like these longer Let's Play type of videos, let me know, because I really enjoy making them. But so far the game is running pretty smoothly. Conquest Reforged, as complex as it looks and as crazy it looks, it really does just play like Minecraft. Oh my gosh, the view from this house is going to be absolutely beautiful. I think I even see some fish swimming out there. Maybe we can make a dock to fish from. But this is perfect. We have a nice view of the sunset over the water. And we have a beautiful flat piece of land here that we can maybe make a wood little cabin out of, or maybe wood and stone would be appropriate here. This is kind of random, but I really wanted to thank you guys so much for 5,000 subscribers. I was just really thankful because I remember being at 430 subscribers on New Year's Eve going into 2025, and then, you know, to see that I'm at 5,000, I just wanted to thank you guys. I'm really appreciative of that. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching, and I'm hoping these videos entertain you or at least give you some kind of comfort. Because I have gotten feedback from people that say that they like watching my videos in the background, which in my opinion is like, that's like the biggest compliment for me. Because I know I like watching videos in the background. So it is nighttime and we have a huge kind of problem here. We need to find sheep so we can actually make a bed. Otherwise, otherwise if I die, I'll start all the way where I spawned and have to walk over here again. It's going to be kind of risky, but I think we can kind of make our way through the woods. And maybe we'll find some sheep that we can either shear or kill for their wool. I think luckily though, our iron should be mostly done. So we can gather this really quickly. We have a good amount of iron. Maybe we can quickly make some iron armor that we can wear. And I really like this site that we have for ourselves. It doesn't look like much, but once we get a house up, it's going to look really beautiful. And I'm really excited to start actually showcasing what Conquest Reforged is all about, especially once we start putting the foundation of the house here. Like I was saying, I tend to take my time with playing Minecraft. I don't really rush it. I've honestly only ever beaten the game one time. So I'm not the most experienced Minecraft player out there, but alright, now that we have full iron armor and a shield, I feel pretty safe to go out into the woods. I kind of want to actually head over to this waypoint that I found and see what that structure is all about. Right, nice light little combat here, but nothing we can't handle. I'm not exactly the best Minecraft player, but when you have a shield and full iron armor, it makes it kind of easy. I'm just going to kind of follow along the water here, lighting my way up as I go, so then at least the riverbank here will be nice and secure. Oh wow, what is this? Looks like here it's a little watchtower in the middle of the woods. How cool is this? And again, I'll have my full list of mods in the description for you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in a comment, and I'll be sure to answer any questions. And it looks like we even found a sheep out here, which is perfect. You can actually see the zombies here have some animated textures, and they look super gory, which I really like. This mod pack definitely reminds me of Oblivion. Perfect. And it's turning daytime. Oh, this must be one of the taverns from Dungeons and Taverns. That should mean there's villagers nearby. Look at this cozy little mystery shack looking thing out here in the woods. You guys know what the mystery shack is from? Let me know in a comment. That is one of my favorite shows of all time. Oh, here we go. Here's a friendly face. I really like the way the villagers look. They actually look pretty cool. Oh, I didn't even need sheep. I could have just stayed here. I really like these cozy little taverns. So something that's really cool about Dungeons and Taverns is every little object or every little structure has these loot chests, and the chests are randomly generated, so you don't know what's in there until you actually click on them to see what's in there. All right, call for adventure, advancements made. Looks like we have a bunch of bread in here. Pumpkin pie, perfect. A ruined town map and an undead crypt map. Cool. So those are also things added in Dungeons and Taverns. The different structures we can explore, and I feel like with a mod pack like Conquest Reforged, Dungeons and Taverns just kind of enhances the game for me. But yeah, this literally looks like the mystery shack. This is actually really cool. Yeah, this is nice. Maybe we can clear the woods here. Got some cows here. You can see even the cows have custom models, which is kind of nice. They look really humpy for some reason. This is cool. Maybe we'll make a trail from the house to the shack over here. But we haven't even taken a look at the tower quite yet, so let's make our way over there and see what's in there. Alright, villager, you gotta be careful, buddy. There's a lot of zombies out there. This is actually really fun for me. Alright, let's make our way to the top of the tower and see what's up here. This is the thing we saw on the map. Coming up here. Oh, there's a bed for us. Got fireworks, empty maps. Not much of a view with all the trees in the way, but still pretty cool. I think we're gonna take this bed because there's not any villagers up here, so. We still have the whole world to explore out there. This is literally just one location. Yeah, let's make our way back to our little homestead. I think we have the perfect place for a home. We're literally right on the water. So if we quickly want to get over to the tavern here, we just take a quick little boat ride and we can dock right here on the side. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the adventure here so far. If you guys want to see more of these kind of longer, chiller, let's play type videos, let me know in a comment below, because I'm really having fun making this. And if you guys have any questions about Conquest Reforged, let me know. It's definitely one of those mod packs that takes a long time to kind of master. I'm not really a master at it, but let's slowly start clearing out this land because I want to make a nice little seaside shack here. or lakeside shack rather. I really love all the connected textures here. Even just on base texture or base terrain, it still looks really good. Alright, now that we have a nice little open plot of land, I think it's time to start building. So what I want to do is actually we're going to grab some of this limestone cobble and we're going to throw this into the stone cutter here. Just roughly outline the shape of our home here. Whenever I build homes in Minecraft, I tend to just kind of wing it. I don't really think about what I'm building too deeply, honestly. I just kind of build these wacky little shapes and I kind of try to come in later and actually make it work, if that makes sense. So I don't really plan my builds out that much. I just kind of roughly follow the landscape and just kind of build what I'm feeling at the time. That's kind of my secret for making really interesting looking builds. So another thing I want to do is I want to mess around with light granite cobble. This is another item we were able to grab from the stone cutter. And as you can see, we have like a pretty good block palette here. We have limestone walls, light granite, and then we have just plain cobblestone. And I feel like using these blocks, we can get ourselves a nice little base layer here. Alright, so what I kind of want to do is I want to use the limestone wall here and kind of use this as the bottom layer because it almost looks like it's mossy cobblestone in a way, at least to my eye. Perfect, so now we have a wacky little shape here. Now what I like doing is coming in here with the regular cobblestone and just kind of filling in the corners like this. This is kind of how I build. It's sort of a weird little process I have, but it kind of works. You have to really just sort of figure out what works for you. I never really considered myself a good Minecraft builder. It's just, I really just freestyle everything. I guess the way my brain sort of works is I'm really kind of creative with things, so it's easy for me to think about things creatively. Whereas maybe for some people, they're a lot more analytical, so for them, they have to plan their builds out. And I think one of the major tips for, I guess, life in general, but mainly Minecraft, is you really have to figure out what your style is. Like, figure out what your strengths are as a person and kind of lean into that. So for me, being this person who has a more creative kind of mindset, it's easier for me to build in these weird kind of ways. But if you're somebody who's more analytical, maybe you have to plan things out more. And there's not like a right way or a wrong way to do anything. It's just what works for you. Now what I want to do is I kind of want to fill in these gaps with this lighter kind of stone here. And this is like a really easy way to kind of texture out the walls without me having to think about it too much. All you have to do to get access to the different blocks is just go into the stone cutter, put in your cobblestone, and then you can get the different blocks that you want to use to build. For the floor, I'm thinking we can actually just do plain spruce. I think that'd look kind of nice. I really like the way the spruce looks in this resource pack. It has these nice thick spruce planks here. It has a nice dark like mocha kind of color. Perfect, now the floor is done. And I'm thinking actually over here is going to be our entranceway. So let's quickly kind of remove these blocks, and I want to showcase some of the things we can do here to make our build a little bit more interesting. So to make the house feel like it's a little bit more kind of weighty, what I want to do is come into the corners here, or come into different little parts on the wall and kind of fill it in with the stone. And then for the rest of the walls up here, I want to actually do wood tutoring. I think that'll look really nice. So in order to get tutoring, all we have to do is take our spruce wood here, put it into the stone cutter, and as you can see, we're able to get these ash planks with tutor. So I'm actually wanting some of these walls to have arched windows. So all I'm going to need to do for that is actually extend these walls out one more block, because the arches actually take up a full block by themselves. I really like to build my houses piece by piece. So I'll kind of start off with all the stone stuff that I want to get done, and then I'll come in later with all the tutoring and then do that. So I kind of just section everything off. All right, now what I can do is actually start layering out the tutoring, and we'll probably have to make more, but the basic idea is every other block is going to kind of be different sort of textures like that. Thinking to kind of break up the monotony of the tutoring on this side, I need to actually continue this stone all the way up here. I think for me, I like to just sort of look at things and sort of figure out how I can make them better. And that's just sort of my whole approach to building. I feel like the tutoring really makes these this home feel a lot more homey instead of it being all stone. Then once we add the windows and things, it's really gonna start looking nice. Alrighty, now we have the tutoring done on the second floor. I might change up some of the bits later, but for now I feel like it looks pretty nice. I'm gonna have to actually probably get more stone, but one of my favorite blocks from Conquest Reforged is actually the dark slate roof tiles. So we're gonna need to make a bunch of these. So now we have these different blocks, right? So we can take these and turn these into different blocks as well. Now you can see why there's over 14,000 different blocks, as you can just keep adding different things to the stone cutter. So I feel like the slate roof is really gonna complement my color palette here. But the way I like doing roofs is I kind of like doing the focal points of the roof. So you can see I have this part of the roof done and I have this part of the roof done. And now all I have to do is kind of connect them in between. I don't know, for whatever reason, my brain just thinks this is way easier than doing roofs piece by piece. But like I was saying, you have to really just figure out what kind of works for you and what works with your kind of skill set here. So now all I have to do is kind of connect my way between the roof pieces here. So I was kind of messing around with the roof, and I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. So I decided to do 2 layers of slate stairs here, and then on the 3rd layer, what I'm going to end up doing is actually the full blocks like I had originally planned. And this will give my roof kind of a steeper sort of slope, and I think it'll turn out a lot better doing it this way instead of kind of alternating it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this house is turning out and just the beautiful view of the lake here. I think this is definitely going to be a world that I spend a lot of time in, even if I'm not recording. But if you guys want to see me turn this world into a series, let me know. I'd love to do that. But we are slowly running out of stone. In fact, actually, we're totally out of stone after this deep slate roof tile is gone. But as you can see, this looks a lot better having the full block on top. I think we can even do an additional full block layer on top of that, and that should be the roof done. And now what we can do is we can actually take some of these extra stairs that we have and just kind of dot these around the roof. I'm a really big fan of uneven kind of builds like this for some reason. And now what we can do to make the stairs kind of blend into these full blocks, we'll just come in here with the dark slate roof tiles, kind of bring this out 2 little layers here. And now as you can see, it's a lot more graduated looking rather than it being such a harsh slope. I think that looks a lot nicer personally. Yeah, there we go. I really like how this roof turned out. It's not quite as steep as I'd like it to be, so maybe we could add an additional, just 1 more layer on the top, but I think for now it looks pretty good. Now I want to actually start adding windows and things, and that's what's really going to make this house come alive. Alright, so it's a brand new morning. Let's actually head our way to this little ravine, and we're going to need to gather a bunch of stone so we can make a bunch of archways. It's actually nice. Our house is right next to this ravine, and there's plenty of coal we can grab while we're here as well. Actually, there's water right here. This will be a nice, easy little elevator down. I don't want to go into the cave too deep. I kind of want to just stay near the surface. We'll just kind of turn this area into our little quarry of sorts. As detailed as this mod really gets, it's kind of nice to be able to gather materials quickly. I think for the most part, Conquest Reforged really is a creative mode mod, but you can very well use it in a survival mode or play it in survival mode. I feel like it's still a fairly enjoyable experience, just because there's not really any additional gameplay elements. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of expanded ecosphere. I feel like this really makes the world come alive. And it really complements Conquest Reforged very nicely, I feel like, just because it only uses vanilla blocks, so there's no sort of conflicts we have to worry about. Right, now I want to start adding archways and windows. So I'm going to kind of look around here and sort of figure out where I'd like my doorways and windows. So first things first, let's actually make a door. And one of my favorite things that Conquest Reforged actually adds is these things called tall doors. So these tall doors are really beautiful. Check this out. If we kind of put them in here, by themselves they don't really look that interesting, but here's where things get really awesome. If we come over to the stone cutter And we make ourselves a couple of arches here. What we can do is actually frame out the doorway. See that? Now the doorway looks really cool. Now it looks like a proper entranceway into our home here. So you can see here, now we have a nice arch entranceway into our home. And I'm thinking we can even add some arched windows on this side as well. I'm not necessarily worried if the windows aren't perfectly centered. I kind of like it when builds are weird like this, to be honest. But I feel like adding these arches really makes the builds come alive. You know, even just simple things like that. That's where Conquest Reforged really starts becoming fun, in my opinions, when you can start doing stuff like this. There we go. Now we have a nice arch window on this side. I'm thinking right here I don't really want full windows, so maybe I'm thinking we could just do like these little arched cutouts kind of. Just so we can let additional light in here, but we don't quite need full windows on this side. Alright, now that we have the basic outline of our house, now it's time to come in and start detailing it using the different blocks that we have in Conquest Reforged. So what we can do is we can take our ash tutoring here and make vertical slabs with it. And what we can do with these vertical slabs is we can actually put them on the side of the tutoring out here. Now it gives our wall a much more three-dimensional look, so I'm just going to do this all the way around. So now, as you can see, the walls have much more texture and it looks a lot more interesting. So I want to apply that same idea, but with the stone, so I'm going to make some cobble vertical slabs here. And I'm going to do these just on the corner of the build here. Kind of doing 2 layers on the bottom and then 1 layer on top. And now it makes the corners feel a lot more weighty and a lot more interesting, in my opinion. But you can see, you can really just build things out layer by layer. And you can get kind of crazy with it. But these are just some really simple ways that I like to do things. As you can see, I feel like it makes the walls look a lot more interesting now that they have more texture and variation. I feel like by doing this, now our build looks a lot more realistic. Now it doesn't look like it's just flat texture. Now there's actually bits of the wall that are sticking out that aren't perfectly even. And we can take some of these extra blocks that we have and just kind of dot these around the exterior here. This is a really easy way to give your build a little bit of texture without a whole lot of guesswork put into it. Another thing we can kind of mess with is these quarter slabs, and I like to use these as window sills. I feel like it really makes the windows kind of stand out when they have like an actual sill on the outside of them. Looks really nice doing that all the way around. And something I haven't quite tried out is these vertical quarters. Not really sure how these look. I'm gonna see what they look like if I just kind of put them in here. That's kind of cool. This is like a really nice way to frame out maybe something like that. So I'll put some vertical quarters in the corners here. So now it looks like there's additional support for the tutoring on the outside. I think that's kind of a cool little look and just adds more depth to the build. Honestly, in my opinion, the thing that makes something look good in Minecraft is the amount of depth that you can have. So you can see, even though the house looks pretty simple, just by adding different slabs and adding depth to the build, it looks a lot more visually interesting and appealing. And you can apply that same sort of mindset even if you're playing just vanilla Minecraft. I think another thing we can do to make the tutoring look a little bit more natural is we can take these quarter slabs and kind of put them underneath there. So now it looks like the tutoring is jutting out from the wall rather than it being just a separate texture, if that makes sense. I think that looks actually kind of cool. It's all about adding those small little details. That's what really adds up here. But now you can see the tutoring almost looks like it's coming out of the wall rather than it being just a block that was placed over it, just by playing around with different blocks that we have here. So now that we have the walls nicely textured, I think it's time that we add some landscaping. Right now the build looks really cold and kind of monotonous because there's not any sort of greenery or shrubs nearby. So what I want to do is grab my shears and quickly collect some tree leaves here and just kind of dot these around the house. I feel like this will really help the house look a lot more lively and not so kind of cold. Another thing too is you can replace some of this gravel with maybe grass or something like that. Sort of where the walls look kind of plain. Maybe we can have some vines kind of growing down like this. So kind of an easy way to make builds look a little bit more interesting is we can actually have some vines growing off of the roof. It doesn't really make sense why vines would be growing off of a roof. I feel like it makes this part of the build look a lot more interesting instead of it being so plain. Another thing we can try doing is seeing what kind of variations we can get using spruce leaves, because every single different type of leaf that you put into the stone cutter gets you a different sort of result here. So let's see what spruce leaves gets us. Oh wow, these are actually looking a lot cooler. I'm actually a big fan of these dark decadus leaves, so I'm definitely grabbing a bunch of these. There we go, I feel like these look a lot more hedgy. So I'm just gonna go around here and actually fix some of these up now. I feel like just adding a little landscape like this really makes the house come alive. I'm not sure if I want to redo the vines that are growing off the roof with these dark decadus leaves. Right now I have pear tree leaves up there. I feel like they look pretty good. I think having a blend between the two looks nice. So I'm thinking I'm just going to kind of come in here with some dirt and sort of fill these spots in, just so it's not all gravel that's in near our house. I don't think I have quite enough dirt to make the entire beachfront here all dirt, but I'll just kind of do the outer edges of my house here. I think landscaping is really a big part of Minecraft. Maybe we could take some of this gravel and turn this into layers as well. Make the beach a lot more, have like a gradient to it rather than it being just a steep drop off. Kind of a minor detail, but I feel like all the details really matter. For me, Minecraft has always been this sort of creative game, so I love to spend most of my time actually building things and adding little details around the world. And we can even come up here and maybe add little clumps of gravel to the surface here. Every little detail matters, and they all add up eventually. Something I love to do in vanilla Minecraft, and I did for a long time, was I would actually use moss carpet and things and kind of use that as like a fake way to add depth to my like grass pathways. But now with things like Conquest Reforged, I'm able to use whatever blocks I really want to and make like add depth to even the most mundane parts of the world. So we have quite a bit of gravel here. I think I'm just gonna make this like beach really slopey. We might as well use all of it since we have it. Kind of hard to tell with the water reflection, but now it looks a lot more sloped and not so steep with the blocks. Something I forgot I picked up was actually these glow berries. So what we can kind of do is maybe throw these in here, and these can be additional little vines. I'm just going to place the glow berries down, and hopefully they start emitting light. That'd be really cool looking, especially at nighttime. Anytime I can add vines to my builds, I'm definitely doing it. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this longer Let's Play type video. If you guys want to see more of Conquest Reforged and see what else we can do with it, let me know in a comment. I'd love to continue this series. Anyways, see you guys in the next one.